You are watching Notepad. I'm your host Ibrahim Sani. We are entering the final week of the very most interesting year 2020. And of course, during the final week of the year, we normally explore what has happened throughout the year and try to anticipate what's coming for 2021. So for this episode, I have with me the CEO of Moovby, a ride-sharing company that is rivaling a lot of international competitors in the country. Joining me is, of course, the CEO and founder of Moovby, Nick Muhammad Amin. You see, a lot of issue here will be on the comparison between your company with other players in the market. One such player is, of course, called Soka. Last month, their South Korean parent have announced that they might go for an IPO, but they were clear that they were not going to reveal the deadline of the IPO. So this is the kind of competition that you're up against in this kind of environment where funding is going to be tough. Based on Crunchbase, you have raised about $1 million US. Now I don't know whether that's updated or not, but let's talk a little bit more about the kind of funding that you guys are going through right now, and most importantly, do you feel that it's going to be tough fundraising for 2021?
Yeah, well, we have been very fortunate in being able to secure as much funding as we have to date. We have established Moovby in four more Indonesian cities, in addition to Jakarta, Bandung, Bali, which is Jakarta, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Lombok. And talking about the investment, we found that it's a bit tough market here in Malaysia. But having said that, the opportunity for investment from the international player like from Singapore or Indonesia, even in the US, they still have the interest to dig deeper into the travels and hospitality industry.
Yeah, which is also interesting, right? Because the whole you're echoing so many other innovators in the country where funding is a bit scarce domestically, but internationally it's going to be a little bit more interesting. Let's take a look into the kind of possibility of you fundraising from international investors, because you touched on the area of hospitality and tourism, a sector that is extremely, hugely impacted negatively because of COVID-19. Do you feel that you're still in the right sector for next year?
Yep, I would say we are very much in a right sector. COVID-19 gives some impact to the travels and hospitality industry, which is quite badly, as people know. But moving to 2021, we can see that the growth of the CAGR for the car rental is growing at 17% by next year. So I believe that in the next future, which is the next year, we can see that the returning of the travel is very much close to us.
Yeah, what's interesting is that Moovby has been around for quite some time. You didn't start off, recently. You were around since 2017. And during 2017, I can tell you this, not many people appreciate the kind of sentiment that it comes across with car sharing, P2P, using another person's car to get by with my day. But things have changed so dramatically over the past 3 years. And the trend is that it's common behavior now, this kind of P2P sharing. You don't have to educate the market anymore. The market is fully educated. Tell us about the progress that you've gone through, Moovby has gone through over the past 3 years, and what do you think 2021 is going to be for you?
Yeah. Well, the first 3 years of Moovby, we have actually learned a lot, especially on running the peer-to-peer. If I may share to you, so back in 2017, the car sharing industry was non-existent when Moovby first started. So this is like allowing us to be the pioneer in the country. So the concept of the sharing your own car to a stranger or renting a private citizen car is something relatively new to the community. Throughout the year, we can see that the P2P car sharing was a new phenomenon at the time. I would say thanks to the a big company who came into the market, it gives us the advantage to educate the market better, where we believe that in order to uh, like uh, uh, challenge the status quo or to do something that which is very much new, we need to have a very much deep education and awareness when it comes to educating the market. So with that, we can see that in the light of the Grab e-hailing, like Grab, Gojek, Myka, that literally educating the market to be more acceptance when it comes to the P2P ride hailing or car sharing. And in 2017, I was eager, to break into this untapped industry and see what the future hold for the car sharing in general. So P2P car sharing specifically challenges the perceived need of owning a car, and considering that Malaysia has one of the highest rate of the car ownership, I was confident that the mentality will change eventually. We used to have the mentality where this is my car. If you touch my car, I'm going to harm you. So now this day, you are more than willing to share your private car to a stranger, given that we have all this sophisticated technology that we have built that increase the trust and reduce the risk ultimately. So in the coming year, I see the future of the car sharing in Malaysia, and to be long lasting. The trend might have slowed down due to COVID-19 this year, but I have no doubt that the popularity of the P2P car sharing will pick up again very soon, where we are a mobile society, and people are concerned about the sustainability and the environmental environments nowadays. So P2P car sharing address the needs of get to a multiple destination while limiting the number of excess car on the road. So I see that the car sharing industry will continue to grow in 2021.
So this is the thing that I want to touch upon, because the crux of this matter, the crux of the purpose of this interview is trying to see the consumer behavior changes that has happened over the past 1 year. Do you feel that people are scared to take on car sharing following COVID-19? What does the data tell us from your end?
Yeah, the definitely like COVID-19 has changed the consumer behavior. So we cannot expect the consumer behavior would be the same as pre-COVID.
Yeah, but how has it changed? What changed? What was okay before? What was not okay now?
Yeah, so we can see that the acceptance rate, when people book your car, you have more precautious in order for you to accept the booking. So I think it consists of the safety of the car, the hygiene of the car after the car has been rented. So these are the things that we realize that has changed the behavior of our consumer. But with that in mind, we are not stopping there. We are basically providing a proper SOP to disinfect the car whenever the car has been used. So with that in mind, we are basically providing the resources and manpower to help our hosts to disinfect their vehicles whenever the booking has ended.
Okay. We touched on earlier that competition is going to be stiff, funding is going to be a bit tight, but there is also that element of COVID hovering across this sector. We're talking about P2P, and people might have very different views, maybe negatively or positively different views of how sharing or P2P environment works. With this in mind, when we prepare for 2021, you've been around for 3 years, soon 4 years now, and we're looking at competitions like SOCA, as I mentioned just now, going for IPO, Travo, which is a division of SOCA, trying to get more market share here in Malaysia. But it's not just here; it's also in Indonesia, to trying to penetrate there as well. And you were mentioning about your competitive advantage that is happening in Indonesia as well. Seems like the odds are stacked against Moovby to make inroads for next year. Do you feel that you are going to be able to overcome these challenges particularly when all these other factors are mentioned and stacked against you? What's the story of Moovby for 2021 in capturing market share and trying to inspire the market to use your products more?
Yeah, sure. So, Moovby had a head start in our operation into Indonesia, and because of that, we have been able to lay a groundwork and partner with a major player like Traveloka, Klook, and some other OTAs in Indonesia, where our platform provide the car sharing services to the travel agencies. So from here, we have opened the doors to engage with like more tourism operators and target travelers, like modern travelers and tourists as our main audience. Um, we also like one of the key advantage that we have is actually we have very much understanding into the Indonesia market that make us where we are today. If I may share, like the revenue that coming from Indonesia is around 70% of the total revenue that we have today. So this give a good sign that the being like able to understand the market in Indonesia, like complex market in Indonesia is important for us, and being a hyper local is one of the key success for Moovby. So we also pay our like in Indonesia, if I may share, like we are launching a few parameter that makes our platform is much more safer, because we know that the Indonesian market is a bit complex, a lot of hierarchy, and the crime rate is also quite high. So we are launching a Moovby. It's a advanced telematic devices that is equipped into our host car to collect and analyze the data. So from the behavior driving, where the car is heading to, and if there's some suspicious activity that we can detect from the data, we the system will trigger our operation, and we will do like some works to make sure that the car is safe. So through Moovbeep, both us at Moovbeep and our host can learn about driving behavior, and our renter, which will reassure the car owner on the safety of their cars while they are rented out. At the same time, we are working closely with the insurance partner. One of our top tier partner that we are talked to is the Etika, that has the coverage in both Malaysia and Indonesia. We are working on providing like come up with the comprehensive insurance coverage for both renter and owner. So with this, I would say that we are able to navigate more strongly in preparing to receive the competition in different angle. And having said that, Moovby as a platform, we have run for about 3 years now. We have very much deep experience in running the the operation that we converted into our technology. So I would say the platform that we have right now is fit to the market and is ready to go. We will see that 2021 is going to be a big year for us to push back and gain what we have lost in 2020.
You know, when I had Kamaluddin, the CEO of Maybank Insurance, on, he was talking about InsurTech and trying to get more partners in and try to equip fleet cars and putting telemetry devices in those cars. That was 2 years ago. It seems like it has gotten off to a slow start. We're talking about trying to bring about big data on drivers' behavior on fleet cars and stuff like that. Being a partner of Etika, do you feel that you are trying to do a lot of improvements on a lot of sectors? We're talking about the P2P sector, we're talking about InsurTech, we're talking about big data, we're talking about consumer behavior. Are you spread too thin across too many fronts in a position where it's going to be a bit tricky for you to grow your business? What's your view on this?
Yep, being in a startup, we need to wear multiple hats under the sun, and but of course we are human anyway. We cannot do a lot of things at one time. So by leveraging on our friendly partner to cater on some particular strategic area, which is like the insurance, the telematics, the on-ground operation. So we managed to scale the business without needed much a human behind the screen, or like more people to do a lot of stuff. So I believe that in startup we need to focus more on the collaboration, um, because even if big company, that no one can do everything themselves. So I think that would be the way that we are looking moving forward.
All right, all right. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll ask Nick Muhammad Amin, the CEO and founder of Moovby, what's next for that company in terms of market penetration. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. You're watching Notepad. I'm your host Ibrahim Sani. I have with me the CEO and founder of Moovby, Nick Muhammad Amin. Nick, we talk about the size of the company that you're working with right now, and of course the size of the industry. It seems like there's so much room for you to grow. Now there's an added element here. You are indeed managing a two-sided marketplace. Those that are ready to give up their cars to be borrowed by people, and people like me who wants to borrow cars from other people. We're looking at an industry where it is a purely business ecosystem, digitally driven. It seems like there's a lot of promise here. But the thing about these type of businesses is that your competitors are burning cash like anything. And that's a reason why one of the key premise of them raising funds is to get as much market penetration as possible. Do you feel that you have to do the same thing, in the sense that you need to raise funds as fast as possible, burn through it, and perhaps even subsidize some of the costs that are going to be incurred by both ends of your marketplace, just in the name or in pursuit of growing user base? What's your paradigm view on this?
Sure. So talking about the acquiring the market share, I believe that every company wanted to be the leader of the market, acquire the market as big as they can. But having said that, in Moovby, we have the clear mindsets on we are not believe, like me myself, I'm not believe in growth at all costs, where the money that you have you just like burn like there's no tomorrow, right? Like you give like 80% promo, 70% promo, because we believe that that age was gone. For us, we are trying to looking for a strategic point where we can be in the quadrants of the profitability and the high growth at the same time. So we identify a few strategic movement that, of course, in our case that we cannot share in public, but the strategy is very clear for us to go into the market more effectively, more bigger, with less needed in terms of the capital. So having the being the homegrown company, I would say that we have the advantage in access to the market where it is very hard to penetrate. So if I may share a bit, like penetrating into the captive market, that has a huge user base, and this is why we are focusing at to go into the market more effectively and more bigger by next year. If I may share a bit, we have the very strategic collaboration with one of the local university that has 150,000 user base across nationwide. This partnership is, I would say, a captive market that we have entered, that we are going to launch in February by next year. So this will be a very huge like plan for us to roll out and replicate to other captive market.
You know, we spoke a lot about the domestic market, Malaysia as well as Indonesia. What would be some of the markets that Moovby is likely to expand into? And perhaps could you share with us some of the expansion plans entering those kind of markets, so that you can sustainably scale as well while doing so?
Well, if I may share, the moving forward strategy for us is actually to strengthening our position in Malaysia and Indonesia. These two market is, contains a lot of like a very promising market for the car rental per se. But having said that, we have the vision to go into the other country, where we are looking to like penetrating into Philippines and Vietnam, since the P2P car sharing market does not exist there yet, and we wanted to be the pioneer, the concept in those countries as we did in Malaysia and Indonesia. And as for scaling sustainably, we are following in the footstep of our expansion into Indonesia. What we have learned from that experience is to focus on the cities or metropolitan area, which dense population and high rate of the car ownership, which is why we started Moovby in Kuala Lumpur first, in Malaysia, and subsequently we started in Jakarta, Bandung, and Bali in Indonesia. So by doing this, we are able to replicate our business model, and we will know that it works because the user base in the new market, for example, in the Philippines and Vietnam, are very much similar to our current user base here in Malaysia and Indonesia. So we already identified the partner which is in Vietnam and Philippines, who are ready to accept us and help us to grow in that particular market. And with that, I would say it's going to be a win strategy for us for the expansion. And like being in the P2P model, it gives a lot of advantage to us because we don't have to carry so much weight when it comes to the operation, like buying a car, buy the expensive parking in the specific location, like in mall, like pay for the insurance, pay for the maintenance and everything. So this lightweight company model that give us the so much advantage for us to scale to other market more easily and more effectively.
Well, the issue now is just about execution. I mean, the ecosystem is such where you are the orchestrator and you can control pricing as well as the inventory that you have because you don't hold any assets. That's great. But the question now is, do you feel that you have what it takes to be that kind of orchestrator where you can implement and execute the plans well across all these markets in what I would call it as one of the most volatile times of modern history. 2020 has disrupted a lot of businesses. Yeah, do you feel that 2021 is going to be easy for you?
Well, I do hope that 2021 will have less blocker or constraints for people to move around and run the business. In the light of the the news about the vaccine, encouraging like a business owner to be more positive about the incoming years. So with that, we are preparing our team across Malaysia and Indonesia to be more prepared for any sort of the circumstance that might come into our journey. On the other side, we are working very much to strengthening our platform to make sure that we can provide the best experience for our user, for our host, and at the same time learning from our previous experience throughout the Malaysia and Indonesia to provide better experience to our user later on. But having said that, the current team that we have is very much strong. Even though we are startup and small, we have the people that we need to bring Moovby to the next level. But having said that, we are opening for hiring. We are looking for more talents to join us in the near future, where we are looking for many leads coming from the marketing to the operation, and as well as people who are can help us to grow into Malaysia, Indonesia market more effectively.
Fantastic. I wish you all the best, Nick. And of course, new year means new beginnings. And of course, I wish the entire Moovby team all the best. It's not going to be easy for most of the years, but it's certainly not going to be easy for 2021. So I really hope that you can find the resources and find the backers and of course find the staff to get it done, all of which is critical for your success. But for now, we pause and we take a break in the sense of the new year. We're going to have a lot more companies that we're going to interview and try to reflect upon how 2020 has been. But if you've missed any part of this interview, just head on to astroawani.com, look for Notepad. There are plenty of interviews like this over there. Nick, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure speaking to you until we speak again. Thanks and goodbye.